let's get into this story. It was a podcast today with several of the ESPN reporters. It's Brian Windhorst's podcast, The Hoop Collective, and he had Ramona Shelburne on and Dave McMenamin, who covers the Lakers for ESPN. And Ramona, who's plugged in, she said this, why like the Lakers didn't make a trade at the deadline. She said, my interpretation was that the Lakers front office and ownership, the Lakers organization from ownership on down, decided you guys got yourself into this. This is the bed that you made. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, all of the future Hall of Famers. This was your choice of roster and team. Go make it work. And we are not going to mortgage our future in terms of draft picks or taking on luxury tax now because this team isn't working yet. Go make it work. So according to Ramona, this was Jeannie Buss, Kurt Rambis, Linda Rambis, Rob Pelinka putting the foot down. LeBron, no, you wanted this. Now make it work. And Ramona does a great job reporting. But, Rob, I'm crying hogwash.
I think I'm in your camp on this. Go ahead.
What could they have done? I mean, let's not bury the lead. There weren't a ton of trades out there. Okay, they could have given up Russell Westbrook for John Wall, and it would have been Russell Westbrook and their 2027 first-round pick. Yeah, I mean, that's their next first-round pick that they can give up. And so they wanted to keep that. Okay, fine. But that was really it. Nobody was beating the door down for Taylor Horton Tucker or Kendrick Nunn. And even if they had made a move, if you get John Wall, how much better? It makes you maybe a little better. Maybe it's addition by subtraction. But as we saw the other night, Russell isn't the only issue. He's one of the major ones, right? Not the only issue. And I just think that let's assume, though, it's true that the front office and ownership stood up to these players. Well, it's a little late for that. I've been saying it, Rob. I've been saying it all year. Oh, you can talk about LeBron. Oh, he wanted Westbrook. He had the powwow with Russ. He's the one that built this team. Rob Pelinka is the GM. Jeannie Buss is the owner. LeBron James is under contract for a few more years. You can take his input. You can listen to his opinion. But at the end of the day, the call is yours. And if you go with what he said over what you wanted to do, then it's still your fault. LeBron could have picked Westbrook up, driven him to the crypto.com arena to meet with Rob Pelinka and said, this is the guy I want. That would have been tampering, but still. And you still can stand up and say, well, that's nice, LeBron, but you know what? I think what's best for our team is this. That's what Pat Riley did. And LeBron won 2 championships with that franchise, and he's never been able to win 2 with another franchise. And so, Rob, if this report is true, which I have my doubts, then this is just an example of what I said should have been done and why LeBron is ultimately not the final person to blame. You can blame him for thinking he could make it work when he couldn't, for wanting a guy that wasn't a good fit and everybody saw it. But at the end of the day, it was ownership and the front office call. And they went with Westbrook. So ultimately, they're to blame.
All right. We that's where we'll part on that. We'll part there. But I agree with you that there wasn't much to do. There was no big trade out there. And if they had to take on, it's the Lakers. They have the money to pay any luxury tax. Chris, if they really felt they had a chance to swing a deal and make the team better and give themselves a chance to win a championship. I don't doubt that for 1 minute. So I have a problem with the idea like there was some deal out there that they passed on because they wanted to rub LeBron's nose in it. I just don't buy it.
Right.
I don't buy that. Right. They're about winning, Chris, and about making money and making a playoff run, right? And all the other stuff that goes with it. So why would they be in that vein if there was a trade on the table, right?
Right.
All your trade.
It's easy to say that when you ain't got no trades.
Right. Right. There was, other than John Wall, is that what we want to take them? We're going to take the same issue. He ain't even playing for the Rockets, and we're going to take John Wall and then have to give up a first-round pick? I'm not doing that. Was John Wall playing and averaging 35, Chris, and playing great?
Right, exactly.
That might be a different trade.
Exactly.
I'm with you on that. That part is sketchy to me, and like you said, she does a great job. I'm not sitting here ripping her reporting. It just doesn't sound right. But I hear you about them standing up to LeBron, Chris, but that's just not how these people work nowadays. They're afraid of the players. The players have way more.
No, I said Pat Riley.
Yeah, Pat Riley was on a different plateau.
Right.
He's on a different footing. Like, he's won. He's made and
he's a legend in the league.
Yeah, he's a legend in his own right. Like the front office and the ownership, of the Lakers, they don't have that kind of standing, So
But you don't think they could? I mean, heck, Rob Pelinka to some degree ran out Magic Johnson. Now, granted, Magic doesn't play anymore, but you talk about a legend.
Yeah, but I don't know if it was really him, because I always still felt like Magic left. You remember he wanted to get rid of the coach who went to Sacramento and just
Luke Walton.
Luke Walton. Remember, he wanted to do that, and then it was like she really liked Luke, and then it looked like there was a power struggle over him. And then I just think Magic felt like, okay, I'm the GM or whatever, and I can't even get rid of the coach.
But that's what I mean? Point. They stood up to him.
Yeah.
You stand up to Mr. Laker?
Yeah, but he ain't playing now.
To LeBron?
It's still a little different, and you got LeBron. I just think LeBron has more power than you're being honest about. No,
I think he has the power, but I agree.
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, at the end of the day, you still can stand up to him. That's all I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, but Chris, you will acknowledge that a lot of these front office people won't do it to these players.
No, I agree. Won't. Agree. But that's why I'm saying, whose fault is that? I mean, it's hard to blame a player, or human beings do that. They want to take as much as they can get. And if you're going to allow me to have power beyond my standing or beyond my title, most people are going to take it. But it's on your leadership to say, right, I'm going to take a yard.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, most people, if you give them that power, they're going to do it. But it's up to, that's why you have leadership to say, no, this isn't the route we're going. So, but yeah, I ultimately, Rob, we agree that here's the other thing about the Lakers. We're not going to mortgage our future. The Lakers have never been about building through the draft. Let's just really go back. When they won it, Wilt Chamberlain was a free agent. Or not a free agent, but a trade. So he wasn't like a homegrown person, and he won the title, of course, with Jerry West, and Elgin retired, but Gail Goodrich and all that in 72. Kareem was a trade. Magic, somehow they got the top, was it the Magic number 1 or number 2 pick? Number 1 pick, I believe. Somehow they got him, even though they still were a pretty good team.
That was weird. It was some sort of trade that they had lucked into, Chris, because they shouldn't have. Right.
And they did it again when they got James Worthy, and Magic was the first pick. They did it again when they got James Worthy, right, a few years later. But I wouldn't call that building through the draft. I would call that, they were fortunate to get those picks. They had a great team. The team wasn't built through the draft because the hub was Kareem. And then they go get Shaq after Showtime's over, right? Free agent. They trade for Kobe through the draft. They trade for Powell. LeBron's a free agent. AD is a trade. You see what I'm saying? Like, the last time they tried to do it through the draft, they had Lonzo and Kuzma and Brandon Ingram.
And 6 years of no playoffs.
Right. So this whole thing about building through the draft, mortgaging the future, stop it. Like you said, if a deal was out there, the Lakers would have done it.
They would have made it. I don't doubt that for any minute. They're trying to win.
Your turn to weigh in on the Lakers. All this tough talk. We stood up. We put the foot down. LeBron, you're a player. You don't run this team. You buying it, or was it just really no trades out there? Yeah. Well, we're gonna clean it up and make it look good.
Exactly. Chris, real quick, very nice gesture by McDonald's today. Saw the crowd for the Rams parade and offered up a large fry for people to share. So that was really nice.
That one's so good. There's no way you came up with that.
That's mine, Chris.
Where'd you get that from?
I made
you
that
really?
Up.
You
yes,
serious?
I did. That's not bad, right? All right, let's go.
I like it. I like that one.
Let's go to Bobby in Florida.
I'm going to do some Googling, though, because I don't know. I'm still not sure.
That was an original Rob Parker. Bobby in Florida, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What up, Bobby?
Hey, guys, great to talk to you. Rob and I have gone at it a couple times about Tom Brady, but two things. Number one, I wanted to thank you for all the hard work you do.
Thank you,
make a little bit of happiness for me.
No,
Number
man,
two,
that's what it's about.
LeBron's a whiner, and he's just trying to do anything he can to get a sixth trophy to be matched with Michael, and he just cries all the time, and he sets everything up. Nothing goes on in that thing without him okaying it.
Bobby, we all
Rob.
know that. Yeah, LeBron, thanks for the call, Bobby in Florida. Appreciate you. We know he has a hand in it. I mean, we know that,
He's
Chris.
got to say.
Yeah, whether it's good or not, and I'm with you that at some point, because it always comes down to the GM, Chris, nobody will go back and go, like, when things don't work out, you make a deal, it doesn't work out or whatever, it goes back to you. That's on your plate. That's your job description. So you do have to be
Especially when
careful.
he's locked up under contract. It's tougher if he was a free agent this summer. You know what I mean? Because then he can be like, look, I'll leave. Right. But when he's locked up, come on.
All right, Ray in Seattle, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What up, Ray?
Hey, gentlemen. Good afternoon. Good talking to you guys always. You guys kill it every day.
Man, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so I just got a few points. You got to remember that the Lakers are only a year and a half removed from a championship, right? Even though they went out and got Westbrook, we got to understand that LeBron's contract is going to be over soon. And if they get rid of one of those three guys, they're not going to have pieces for the future. So I'm thinking they're going to wait for the dust to settle to see what LeBron decides to do. And if he decides to leave, they still have Westbrook.
No, he has 2 years, don't he?
He's got a year. He's got, after next season, he can be a free agent.
Yeah, so he has.
Summer of 2023.
Absolutely, absolutely. But they still got to have some pieces left. And on top of that, they can still catch fire and get hot before the playoffs. And I'm thinking they're trying to see what they do in the playoffs to see if they have to reset for next year. And hopefully there's some better trades out there after the draft and in free agency.
Ray, you're an optimistic guy because I don't know how the oldest team in the league is going to be better defensively. Like, right, Chris? Like, they might play. I'm surprised that they've played this poorly. But there's certain things that I don't see turning around like overnight, especially on the defensive end.
Well, I've always said anytime you have LeBron playing at a high level and AD, you got a puncher's chance. And I will give them this, Rob. Now, granted, the Warriors have not been playing great basketball themselves, right? They still got a great record, but they haven't been. The Knicks just beat them recently. The Jazz just beat them. The Clippers just beat them. So the Warriors, Rob, have actually lost 3 of their last 4. The one team they beat, you guessed it, the Lakers. But I don't think we should look at it like, oh, they took the vaunted Warriors to the buzzer, right? It was a great game. But I will say this, whether this is an indictment of the Warriors or whether it's improvement on the Lakers' part, I was surprised that the Lakers defense was as good as it was. And I'm not saying it was the bad boy Pistons, but they guarded they guarded Golden State better than I thought they could. They're better than they have been guarded. That's all I'll say.
I'm just saying.
But I don't think it's going to be doing it consistently, but I just thought they did a pretty good
And that's the issue
job
when you have older players, too, Chris. You talk about it. You can have a good night or two, but can you do it consistently?
Exactly.
And that's the drop-off you see. All right, let's squeeze in Jamal in Richmond, Virginia. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What up, Jamal?
Chris and Rob, what's up, guys? How y'all doing this evening?
Doing
good,
great.
man. How are you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Long-time listener. First time being able to get in.
Thank you.
Wow.
Appreciate
Don't
Absolutely.
make it the last.
Absolutely.
We'll get you in.
What's that?
Don't
Absolutely,
make it the
man. Well,
last.
yeah,
We'll get
I
you in.
appreciate that, man. I just like to say, guys, I got one thing. I think that there were no moves to be made. Nobody wants Russell Westbrook. Nobody wants that contract.
Yep.
AD, street clothes, always hurt. Nobody wants him. And I feel like he has a no trade clause as well, right? So you're not just going to be able to move him unless he agrees to go somewhere. So the Lakers are stuck. I love watching it. I think that they made their bed. Now it's time to lay in it. So I'm going to be tuning in tonight to watch them lose. And, hey.
This will be interesting tonight. They play Utah. Yeah.
It is what it is, fellas. It is what it is. So we'll see what happens. But I just think there were no moves to be made. And Chris and Rob, I agree with you also that LeBron James has a little bit more power than people like to give him credit for, especially when it comes to making moves in an organization.
We all know he has power, but the point is,
Chris just thinks they should stand up to him.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm just saying they don't have the cojones to do it.
Okay, right. I agree with you.
They just
on that.
don't.
And look, Rob, I think this too, and I don't think LeBron has accepted this in his mind. But Rob, at the end, it's probably now about LeBron chasing Kareem. And if he stays healthy, he's going to break that scoring record. I think that's really the goal that he's going to reach more so than winning another championship. I really do. And, I don't blame a guy for going for individual awards. We all want individual awards. So more power to him.